You've had a bit more time to pick through the detail of the budget. Let's start off with your reaction to it.
Well, I suppose the number one thing that struck me was last night they said there were 23,000 more home care packages. Now, we should just remind people that an aged care Royal Commission was called to fix the problems in a broken system, and the Prime Minister gave his assurance almost as his first act as the new Prime Minister that he was going to restore faith in the system. So when I heard the 23,000 packages, I thought, well, that's going to clean up the wait list that's there at the moment, because there are people waiting and dying while they're waiting. 10,000 people died last financial year waiting. So you'd think, well, the bare minimum, you would have at least 10,000, 23,000. I thought, this is great. Then you have a look at it, and guess what? It's over 4 years. So 23,000 over 4 years means that you've actually given fewer than 6,000 extra packages a year.
So that's a long way short.
A long, long way short. And this is not about numbers, though. When you throw these numbers around, you lose fact that this is about people's lives. And I mean, we talk to people all the time who are waiting for packages, and these packages don't come. And they're at home looking after someone with a terminal illness, they're looking after someone who's got dementia, they're frail, they're in their last stages, the stress on that family. I had a text this morning from someone who'd been waiting for a package, and that person's just simply written, is this another example of a Royal Commission where they're going to ignore the findings? And it says, is this an excuse for inaction and creating the illusion of problem solving? Has the Minister no traction in his portfolio? Let's see if Labor are deeply disappointed. I mean, now this is the reaction coming in from people. That person had a wife who died while they were waiting for a package, and they actually got the recognition that they'd got a package 1 year after she was dead in the letterbox. I mean, now these are the stories that the Royal Commission heard. People who had died waiting, people who'd gone into aged care. Now, we're having this entire budget built around COVID to deal with the issue of people dying in aged care, which is where most of the people are dying, and yet at the heart of that, you've only given a small fraction towards the problem. Now, if you've got 100,000 people waiting and you only supply 20,000, you know, you've still got 80% of the problem there. But in this case, it's 20,000 over 4 years. So
well, just on that, the government says it will mean 99% of people needing a home care package will have access in some form. Is that true?
Okay, let's look at the access in some form.
Yeah, the key words.
Access in some form. Now, that is not doing what the Royal Commission asked them to do. It's not restoring faith in the system. I mean, access in some form, it's just ridiculous to spin things that way. Access in some form means that there are people getting some home care assistance. When you've got a person who's got dementia and you've got people that have got all sorts of issues, access in some form is not good enough. And what happens is they end up going into aged care. If you ask Australians today, what would you rather do? Stay in your own home or go into an aged care home? Do you need help to stay in your own home, or would it be better to go into an aged care home? Well, the answer's obvious. It's more obvious than ever now, because the demand's going to be even greater. We haven't got the figures from the last quarter, but the demand's going to be greater because more and more people are going to say, I want to be looked after in my own home. This is a desperate situation. We're not talking about small numbers here. We're talking, I mean, at a bare minimum, there are 50,000 people waiting for the high-level packages, right? Because they're coming through as the need grows. Now, for a government to turn around and give about, well, let's just say they've given about 10% of the need. 90% of the need is still there. I mean, that's the problem. So you cannot say you've addressed the problem. And we just had the Finance Minister saying here, I make decisions on the best available evidence. You've just called a Royal Commission that's run for 2 years that provided you with the evidence, and now you're saying, well, we'll wait and see. Now, the other thing, of course, is that they're talking about doing something next year, you know, in the run-up to the election. So if they turned the home care wait list into something that they're going to magically fix just before the election, I hope so. I hope this is about politics and that they will actually do it next year when the Royal Commission hands down its final report in February. But you can see my heart's pounding because my heart goes out to the people that are actually waiting for a home care package. So when you get the Prime Minister on in a moment, don't listen to the idea that, oh, you ask him, has he restored faith in the aged care system? Has he done that? 2 years ago, he said he would. 2 years later, has he done that? Giving 6,000 packages a year extra to a group of people that's waiting where there are tens of thousands of people, has that restored faith in the system?
Well, like you were saying, waiting and dying,
yes,
it stands to reason then that if there's not enough packages, then that will continue.
That will continue. And so, you know, let's go back to Richard Tracy. Richard Tracy was the Royal Commissioner who wrote that report called Neglect. And when he was actually in the chair, he said, I want the public servant on the stand to tell us how much it would cost to fix this problem. And I remember the remarkable QC saying, it's not beyond the wit of a person to put a figure on it. Come on, you put a figure on it. And Miss Buffington, who was in charge of that section, the aged care waitlist section, she sat there, and then finally the public servants, they all got on their computers and they gave her an answer, and she said 2 to 2.5 billion would solve the problem of the present waitlist. Last night they gave, if you calculate what they've given, 400 million. So they've given 400 million to a $2 billion problem. So, you know, 400 million to a $2 billion problem. So 80% of the problem is still there. Now, I get back to this. It's just politics. So they're going to wait for the Royal Commission to come out, and then they're going to announce the 80% that's required to fix the problem. And if they're doing that, what happens to the people that wait? Or they wait this Christmas, they wait next January, they wait next February, they wait for the government to make an announcement.
Just in 30 seconds, we've got to wrap up, Ian, but I know you're disappointed about all this, but the $250, the 2 support payments, what sort of an effect can that have?
Well, if it's someone waiting for a home care package, what will that buy?
Yeah.
What, you know, a few hours of care, 2 or 3 hours of extra care a week. But for those people that are actually out there, I think that's good that the government has given some money. But if you want to stimulate the economy, and once again, we go back to the best available evidence, which the Finance Minister said, the best way to stimulate the economy is to give money to people that would actually spend it. And finally, one last thing, is that Ken Wyatt, when he was the Minister, he said that you will need 600,000 extra workers in aged care by 2050. So if you want to solve unemployment, and if you want to try and have a solution there, where was the training program for the aged care workers that we're going to need over the next 20 years? They should be creating tens of thousands of aged care training programmed places and training people for that. And that would be action. Whereas at the moment, I can say all that they've done is they've drip fed, they haven't led.
Okay.